Good evening, everybody. Monday Morning Quarterback, episode 80. No fancy intro tonight. We're on the West Coast for some races, and we are at Ashlyn Rodriguez's shop. And been friends with her dad for almost 20 years now, and so we're staying here for a couple days as we're doing the Hangtown 100 midget race. Last week, T-Bone and I were at the Western World. It was a great event for us. Won 3 of the 4 main events. Tyler Courtney sweeping the sprint car portion, and then Kevin Thomas winning the opening night of the midget. Didn't quite get the sprint car championship, but fought hard the whole season, and ended up, Tyler had 9 wins, and I think KT had 3 or 4, and so good season for us. Congratulations to the Reinbold team. Andy's a great guy and been a good customer of ours for a long time. We still build a lot of shocks for him with his regional sprint cars and his midget program he's building. So tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about these races on the West Coast, why we came all the way out here from Indiana, talk to Ashlyn about her season and what she has going on, and then answer any questions you have. So I can see the questions here. If you have questions as we're going, either for myself or Ashlyn, just fire away, and we'll get those answered, whether it's racing or pit logic or who's winning the football game. We'll answer that for you. So I said last week we were at the Western World. Initially we were going to a 10,000 to win race in Texas that got canceled. So we went to the Western World. It was actually a really good trip for us. Got to meet a lot of our Arizona customers. First time we've had the support trailer at a sprint car race out there. We've been to Arizona for quarter midget stuff. And then we made the drive up yesterday here to Rodriguez's shop. And we got our trailer and everything cleaned up today. And then tomorrow morning we're heading up to Placerville for 2 nights for the Hangtown 100. First year for this race, and a really cool event. Placerville's a track I grew up going to, and the midgets are going to put on a heck of a show there, a 100-lap midget race, and I think it's about a $150,000 purse, so super cool. Probably a race Ashlyn will want to run someday if her mom will let her.
Yeah.
And then from there we're going to Bakersfield. Going to do the race there, and then on to the Winter Nationals in Las Vegas. So we drug a couple quarter midgets out from Indiana, for one for Hudson and one for Colin Mitchell. So excited about that. Ashlyn, tell us a little bit about how your season went, what you raced, where you raced, and how things were.
So I race Super 600 micros out of California, and I primarily race in Stockton, California, or Delta Speedway. That's my home track. But we also travel around. We went to Fresno, we raced Lemoore, Visalia, Dixon, and then this past summer we went up to Deming, Washington, and raced their Clay Cup. The 2019 season went pretty well. I like to say it was my first year in Super, so we weren't really expecting a lot, or at least I wasn't expecting a lot out of myself. Well, not a lot out of myself. My dad wasn't. And then it honestly went pretty well. We had a top 4, finished 10th at the Clay Cup Nationals, so that was pretty good. We had a top 10 at California Speed Week. That was good. A quick time. So all around, I'd say a pretty good season.
Yeah, good season, first year in Supers. I got to see you race at Deming, and gosh, where did you start, like 21st or something, and got to 10th? Yeah, so that was a good race. And then as I'm looking through the shop here, we drug our quarter midget mess in here when we were cleaning the trailer, but 3 micros and a junior sprint. So the Anderchucks, who I used to help with their quarter midget program out in Indiana, they got their micros in here with Ashlyn's stuff. So James is racing a restricted, and Jonathan's got a junior sprint. And then at the end of the year, you started a new adventure. Why don't you tell everybody about that?
Yeah, so ever since a little girl, my dream has been, racing sprint cars, racing 360. So this past August, we got a sprint car, and I made my sprint car debut out at Silver Dollar Speedway for the first time. That went pretty well. I think we got a top 15 in there. And then we also went to the Fall Nationals and raced there. And it's really just a big learning experience at this point. I'm just hoping to get better for the next upcoming season. That's pretty much.
Yeah, so your sprint car isn't here right now. I think you said it was up getting a new body put on it. So let me see. We got a couple questions. Steve Osborne needs assistance using the bump stops on a parking lot track for a quarter midget. Kind of a lot to cover, but the basic, if you're using our progressive kit, we usually start 15 to 20 pounds softer on right side springs and then run the bump rubber there. So I'll be at Vegas. I can help you with that. We've had a lot of success with bump rubbers there at that race. Won World Formula and Light 160 out there using the progressive kit. So definitely recommended when the parking lots are low grip. Softer springs allows you to get through the bumps better, and then the bump rubber will help give you the grip you need to go forward there. So any other questions for myself or Ashlyn, feel free to fire away with those. So do you plan on running Chico kind of weekly next year, or jumping around with the 360?
So as of right now, we just like to do Friday night Chicos, just to get a feel of the sprint car and like learn. But eventually, hopefully, like we would like to go to Placerville and tracks around in California just to, because Chico's a good place to learn. But I also think that going to other tracks will also help because there's a different field of cars, so different racing. It'll help a lot with me learning.
Sure. Do you have any sponsors you would like to thank for what you got going on this year and then for next year?
Yeah, big thank you would be the Andrew Chuck family and Skyba Construction, Burco Redwood, CSI Shocks, Pit Boss Shacks, my parents, my family, all the fans that are there and come to the races to support, and everyone else that's helped us past race season.
Cool. So yeah, looking forward to seeing Ashlyn progress. Like I say, I've been friends with her dad for almost 20 years and worked on his race car back when I lived in California. And so yeah, cool to see her progress through the ranks from quarter midgets to micros and now sprint cars. So makes me feel old. Ashlyn wasn't around when I worked on her dad's sprint car, and now she's driving one. So yeah, so that's really cool. Steve Osborne wants to know how long you ran a junior sprint for me into a 600. I think you went from quarter midgets, right?
Yeah,
to 600, right?
I actually raced quarter midget. So I know the quarter midget starting time is around 5, and I guess you could say I started pretty late. Well, mainly I'd like to blame my dad for that one. He was not a fan of me racing. My parents actually thought because I had a girl that I wouldn't be racing, but no, I begged for 2 years straight, 2 years to race a quarter midget, and I finally did at age 9, and then we stopped that around 12. I think my last race was the Brickyard in 2016. And then ever since then, I've been running a micro, and then started a sprint car this year.
Yeah. Rick Remore, Las Vegas was a rough track, and he thinks the bump stops helped really well there. So yeah, the USAC race at Las Vegas, that's one of the first national events I've missed. We just had a lot going on with moving the torsion bar business from Charlotte to Indy and getting ready for this trip, so we didn't make that trip. But from what I saw from the videos and pictures, it did look really rough. Now the track at the Orleans is much smoother. And I think it ends up being very comparable to Brickyard. It races kind of like a big circle, and it does get a lot of grip by the end as long as we don't have any rain. The other thing there is that temperatures vary a lot. So I've been there and it's been really hot, and it tends to build more grip when we're in the 70s and 80s every day. Long-term forecast looks like it's going to be a little bit cooler, but I still think it'll grip up and be plenty of grip there. Colin Mitchell's watching. Colin, your race car's in the shop somewhere. I think T-Bone's leaning on it. T-Bone's our official videographer tonight. He got roped into that. John Randall wants to know if you're going to Canyon for the ASCS opener in February.
We'll be there.
She said if Bush's Chicken can provide the tires and diesel, she's coming. So
we'll be there.
Look for her at the ASCS opener in February, courtesy of Bush's Chicken. All right, does anybody else have any questions while we're here with Ashlyn live in California? And you'll see us tomorrow night with our trailer at Placerville Speedway, actually the next 2 nights. So if you need shocks checked or torsion bar or spring or want to get some CSI apparel while we're on the West Coast, we got the trailer stocked. Any other questions? Doesn't look like there's any questions. Well, with that, we're going to sign off and go get some dinner. It's really nice to do Monday morning quarterback at 6 o'clock instead of 9. And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be live from Las Vegas next week. And if you have any questions, we missed your questions, leave a comment and I will get back with you. Thanks for tuning in.